hello. Today is Monday. How are you doing today? I'm on my way to the G store, get me some groceries. And thought I'd do the little car vlog. I have the GoPro set up, so we'll see how that goes. I have it mounted. And sorry, you might have to see way too much of my car than you wanted to see. But it is what it is. Anyway, I've been thinking a lot about this is going to sound weird and maybe self-indulgent, but I thought talking about this out loud, well, two things. I thought talking about this out loud would help me, you know, sort through my thoughts, and it also, you know, maybe some other people would relate to it. But I was thinking lately about, okay, I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52 this year. And it's true, you see things differently the older you get. And I've been thinking about how I've never really fit in anywhere. I used to want to fit in. I used to try to fit in. And never happened. It never happened. I don't even care anymore. I don't even worry about it anymore. I mean, I still worry about it a little, like dealing with friends. So, like, okay, you look at me and you think, you probably look at me and think, oh, she fits in. I learned this a long time ago when I was in school. You gotta dress the part. You know, this is what I call my suburban camouflage. I wear like a shirt. I wear patterned shirts because I spill stuff on myself all the time, but that's neither here nor there. I wear jeans or pants, you know, whatever. Try to look, I don't care what my clothes look like, okay? I mean, I care, but I don't care the style or whatever. I just don't want people looking at me. I don't want to stand out, which is weird. It's like the opposite of my sister. My sister wants to stand out. She wants people looking at her. And you're probably like, why are you on YouTube then if you don't want people looking at you? I don't know why it's different, but it's different. There's not like a crowd of people looking at me. You know when you go somewhere and everybody's looking at you? If I go somewhere and everybody's looking at me, I go home and I'm like, what was I wearing or doing that was making everybody look at me? I don't want you looking at me. I want to blend in. I like to fly under the radar as much as possible, okay? Because I'm not good at, like, first of all, I'm not good at lying. If somebody asks me something and I don't want to answer it, I'll say, you know, that's not something I want to discuss or whatever. But I don't know, what does that have to do with fitting in? I don't know. I just never fit in at school. I never fit in, even when I was like a member of different subcultures, you know, in my 20s, I never really fit in. I say too much of what I'm thinking, and it doesn't go well, you know. I can't just go along with the flow because I just can't. I don't know listen, I like to observe people. I love people. I love meeting people individually. I'm okay in groups, but they make me nervous, you know. And I have a apprehension against the group mind, against not group mind, but it's like, you know, when there's a pack of people, and everybody gets riled up and they start doing something, like say you're protesting something and people get really excited and they start breaking stuff. A lot of people don't understand that, but it's part of some people say mob mentality, but it's actually a psychological thing where your brain, you start getting amped up by each other, and it's like you kind of lose control over your decision making for yourself. Anyway, I don't really fall into that, so when I see it happen, it's kind of scary to me, you know. I mean, I know how to get away from it. I know how to blend into the background. Boy, this conversation's all over the place. Welcome to my brain. No, you don't want to see my brain. It's kind of messed up. But I've thought different times in my life where I thought, okay, I'm going to fit in now. Like when I went to college. Okay, so here's the thing. I grew up when I was a kid, and when I was in elementary school and before that, we lived below the poverty level, okay? We lived right at or above the poverty level when I was in high school. So, you know, like we got free lunches when that became a thing. There used to be a thing where you didn't get free lunches. Listen, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. You used to get the free lunches and stuff like that, you know, and everybody else would get new clothes at school time and we didn't get new clothes. I don't care. That stuff doesn't bother me. I mean, I know it bothers other people. It's very upsetting for people. But it's another part of me not fitting in. I looked like this in high school, okay? I looked like whatever you think this looks like this uniform of the way I look. I liked all kinds of different stuff. I was in different sports. I didn't fit into one group. My closest friends were the really smart girls, but I was friends with people from all different groups, which caused problems for me, to tell you the truth. And most people didn't do that in high school. I don't know about nowadays, but back then you just didn't do that. You know, like I had friends in the stoners groups. I had friends in the people that just sold marijuana but weren't stoners. I had friends that were nerds. I had friends that were jocks. I had friends that were, you know, like misfits. They're just hanging in the back somewhere. Because I like to talk to people, you know. I like to talk to individuals. So I had friends all over the place. But I always looked like this. Like, I feel like the outside of me, especially my face, does not reflect the inside of me, which I guess is a good thing because, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that, but... So what I was going to say is that when I got to college, first of all, I had been around people with a lot of money before. Like my dad, his second wife, she was upper middle class. I didn't even know what that was at the time. Okay, I mean, I knew some middle class people at school, but my dad's second wife was upper middle class. She lived in Springfield. She was an executive secretary. She had a huge house. Her kids did karate and dancing and all this stuff. And they belonged to the country club. And just when I went over there, it was very overwhelming. It was so different for me as a kid. So I had seen that kind of stuff before. But when I went to college, it was the first time I really felt this really big gap, you know, because I was going to school with people. Okay, first of all, I got on a bus to go to school. I mean, the first day I went to college, my mom took me. She didn't want to, but she took me. And she's a whole nother subject. But anyway, anytime I went back and forth from college, which was, I don't know, 30 miles from my house, I guess. Anytime I had to go back to my house, I took the public bus, you know. There were kids at my school that had brand new sports cars that were freshmen. They couldn't park there. They had to find special parking. They had to pay for extra parking. You see what I'm saying? There were people, they had so much money. Some of them didn't even want to be in college. You know, they just went there because their parents wanted them to go. They didn't have to work. They'd go partying all week. They'd show up late for class. They'd still do okay in class. I'm not saying this as a feel sorry for me thing, but it was such a weird culture shock when I saw it, because when I was in college, I was working 3 jobs. I had a job on the weekend, and I had 2 jobs during the week, and I had a full class load. And I had my first semester there, I had 2 roommates, so it was 3 of us. And it was these 2 girls that were best friends in high school. They had gone to a Catholic school. They would go to all of the fraternity parties. Yes, for some reason, freshman girls could get into fraternity parties. I don't know if they still can, but it's not supposed to be a thing. They'd go to all the fraternity parties and other parties. They'd be up till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'd be in bed asleep early because I had to get up for class or whatever. Anyway, this is neither here nor there. I was at college and I finally thought like, oh, I'm gonna fit in here because, you know, I'm good at school, you know, and I really enjoy writing. Now, I wasn't there for writing. I was there for philosophy and religion major. At the time, I had wanted to become a Lutheran minister. And I'm not even Christian anymore, so that's nothing against the Christian church or anything like that. That's a long story. People always ask me what happened, who did. Nobody did anything. It's just anyway. That's neither here. That's another thing of me trying to fit in. So anyway, I always loved to write. So I had this one writing class, and I thought, oh, you know, I'm going to enjoy this, right? So we had this assignment to write a short story. And I wrote this short story, and I thought, okay, this will be good. I'll get some feedback. Because there wasn't a lot of creative writing outlets in high school. So I get the paper back, and the response on it is, it's not stuff like, oh, you know, you could have used more descriptors, or these paragraphs don't go into each other. It was more like, this is disturbing. That's what the professor wrote. This is disturbing. And what else did she write? Something else. Something that made it sound morally apprehensible. Apprehensible? Is that the word? It doesn't even sound like the word. Anyway, it was so upsetting to me to get that as a response. And then I got a C. I got a C- on it. Nothing else. There was nothing like, you should have used this word instead of that. Nothing actually on, it was like a moral judgment of what I had written. And I'm like, this is supposed to be creative writing. But I wasn't, you know, when you're young, you're very, you know, you're looking for approval. You're looking for, okay, this is a good thing, this is a bad thing. You know, you're looking to be acknowledged, or whatever that word is. I can't think of it right now. And to me, it was like saying, because this was something very, you know, when you write, it's a personal thing. You're putting the information down the way that it is, and, you know, the way that you're fashioning it. Like if you draw something, okay? And for someone to write, this is disturbing. It just made me think, it was another thing that made me feel like an outsider, you know? Like I couldn't share who I really was, even though what I wrote wasn't who I really was. You know, I was writing fiction. I felt rejected. That's what it was. I felt rejected, you know. Anyway, I'm about to go into the store, so I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Just got out of the grocery store. You can probably see my mask line. I'm still wearing a mask because of I have medical issues, so live and let live, that's what I say. Anyway, I can't remember where I was. Oh, I was talking about when I was in college, and I wrote that. It took me a long time again after that to show my writing again to people. I mean, I've always shown people my poetry because people enjoy it for some reason. I like it, so it's good for me. You've got to do stuff for fun, right? Anyway, it was about fitting in. So as you probably know, so part of my problem is that I'm pretty honest. I mean, I know how to it's not that I don't understand society norms. Like, I understand social cues and what's correct and not correct in the workplace and stuff like that. But beyond that, you know, I'm pretty, yeah. Let's just say some people really appreciate my candor and others do not. And this has both helped me and hurt me in the workplace. Like, in some jobs I've done exceptionally well because I tell them exactly what, you know, exactly what I can do and can't do. Some people don't want to know that. And also, I make friends in different departments because I like to see how the whole company works together. So when something comes up in a meeting and I know it's going to be a problem, or it might be a problem, I'll be like, they do this other thing in the other department, and it might rub up against that, I'm not speak out of turn or whatever. But in some jobs I've been in, where there's one person and they want everybody else to kind of, there's companies you go to where there's meetings and they want your input, and then there's companies where you go and they don't want your input. They just want to tell you something. Just send me an email. If you don't need my input, I guess sometimes they need to make sure that you understand what they're saying, but whatever. Anyway, I don't know. My only point was, so one of the things I was thinking about is that, when you're older, people always say, well, they don't always say, but my generation says, don't forget where you came from, I wanted to say, before I get into that, yes, I am aware that I am privileged in the middle class, mid to upper middle class of America, that I have food security and all those things. In fact, my number one charity that I give to is food banks and Fill Abundance. I'm not saying that to brag, but because I know what it's like to need food, and I don't think anybody should have to go through that. In fact, if I know somebody and I don't think they're going to eat, I'll be like, come on over and eat. I mean, not during the pandemic, but food, I think food is, I don't know, it's very important. But, yeah, I am aware that I'm not poor. There are rich people that act like they're poor, so believe me, I know the difference. When my kids were very young, we were living below the poverty level because my husband was enlisted in the military, and this is almost 30 years ago that I'm talking about, so I don't know how good enlisted pay is nowadays, but it was not good back then. But you did have the benefit of, like, my husband got to go to college. The Air Force paid for him to go to college, while he was in the Air Force. So, and they do. So a lot of people don't know this. Like, they know that you get the GI Bill when you get out, but they also will help you pay for college while you're in. And there's some colleges that work with the military. So it's usually that you have to take the class, and if you pass, they reimburse you. And if you don't pass, then you have to pay it. But some of the colleges that work with the military, they'll be like, we know that you get the reimbursement, because a lot of enlisted people do not have enough money to pay for the classes. You take like one class at a time while you're being in the military, if you're not getting sent everywhere. So there'll be some colleges that work with the military, and they'll be like, we know you're going to get reimbursed, so you don't have to pay right away. You pay at the end of the semester when you get your grade. So if you don't make that grade, then you got to pay. If you don't pass, you got to pay, But anyway, so yeah. So what I was saying was that, like I said, this is all over the place. When you get to be my age and people say, oh, you got to remember where you came from. Which I try to do. I try to do stuff I lived in so many different communities. I have to tell you, like, we moved like 21 times before I was in 9th grade, okay? The last time we moved, when I was growing up, I was in 8th grade, and we moved to a little place right outside of Philadelphia. You could walk down the street into West Philadelphia. So if you're from this area, you probably know where I'm talking about. And I never fit in there either. A lot of people, I look like this, okay? People from that area don't look like this. This is just the way I dress. I just picked a uniform and I stuck with it. I tried to go with something else during college. It didn't work out really well. Like, I was trying to wear all black. I was trying to wear all black, and then I'd wear Japanese shirts. Like, I had this I had this t-shirt with kabuki stuff on it. I was really into Japanese stuff before everybody got into manga and everything. And then once everybody got into manga, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. So, I mean, not that I don't enjoy manga or comic books, but you know what I mean? I was like, this isn't my scene. This ain't my scene, man. Hey, I know how to dress differently when you go clubbing and stuff. I went clubbing in my 20s. I used to love dancing. I mean, I still like dancing, but don't do it as much with the arthritis. Plus, you get older, you're like, oh my God, when we were in our 20s, I used to go clubbing so much, I'd be trying to get Bob to go 3 nights a week, but he would only go once a week, and then he got me down to once every 2 weeks. Back then, women got into clubs free, so I don't know if they still do, but I mean, I'm talking about small areas. I'm not talking about big cities. Just to go dancing. Bob's a homebody. Like I said, this is all over the place. Anyway, yeah. I lived in so many different places around Philadelphia. So many really poor areas. And then I moved to this one area. And it seemed like none of them wanted me there either. So, I don't know. But I still try to do stuff for, like, the library in that area, because that library really helped me a lot, you know. Used to be that was how you got information, was the library. There wasn't the internet. And now, for poor people, which would be the people living in that area, a lot of any information they get, even the internet, is going to the library, you know. And government just doesn't pay as much for the libraries anymore, you know. And I've done library work, like in college. One of my jobs was I worked in the cataloging department in the college library, which college libraries are amazing. I worked in the cataloging department, and you know, librarian, like getting a degree in library science it's a big deal. It's difficult, and it's even harder when you're like specializing in I forget what it's called, but it's where you know everything about the scientific journals and stuff like this. Professional, like, oh my God, I can't even think of the name of that kind of librarian. Anyway, these are professionals that are hired at libraries, you know what I mean? Doing the main librarian work. I don't mean checking out the books. Come on. And it's just not, it just doesn't seem to be a priority anymore. And I think, you know, that I've gotten as far as I have because of access to books, you know, access to information. And I think everybody should have that opportunity, you know. Anyway. Oh my goodness. I feel like I just laid part of my soul bare in here. Anyway, I don't know what my point was, other than I don't even fit in on my block. You know, I have this thing, like all my neighbors, not all my neighbors, but most of my neighbors, they do this thing where they have, like, they either have chem lawn or what is that other one called? True Green come up and do their lawn a couple times a year, put chemicals on it. I do not put chemicals on my lawn. It's bad for the environment. I studied a lot of biology, and I mostly studied microbiology. I think I did 4 years of biology. Listen, I've studied so much stuff that there's something wrong with me. But, yeah, it's bad for the bees. It's bad for ground animals. It's bad for the plants. And, so I'm the lawn that I'll have for 6 weeks. It's over now. It's over now here, but for 6 weeks in the spring, I will have dandelions on my lawn. And I know that it pisses off the neighbors. And I don't care. You know why? First of all, dandelions are good for the insects. Second of all, they only last for 6 weeks. Third of all, I'm not going to put chemicals on my lawn. Sorry. And the funny thing is that, so my lawn is light green and all the neighbors have dark green lawn, the ones that have the chem lawn and stuff. Two of my sons are colorblind, and they thought that our lawn was green and everybody else's was brown. I don't know why I like that so much, but I do. But yeah, I don't know. I do, you know, I do what I can. I acknowledge the social contract that we have in society. You know, I do what I can, but I can't not be who I am. I just can't, you know. And that's life, you know. I could, like, there's so many times I've said, you know, I could pretend I'm this, I could pretend I'm that, you know, I could do these things and people would like me, but at what cost? You're not going to be yourself, you know. I don't need to be put in any, I don't need to fit in. You don't need to fit in. Be yourself. And, you know, feelings are your feelings, and they're not right or wrong. I'm not trying to make this sound like I'm on a pedestal, you know, like I'm not a pedestal, on a soapbox. The words today, the words. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Thank you.